Hi, I'm Eric Siegel with ericstrains.com. Today we're going to be checking out the new 3-rail O-scale 2884 Southern Pacific AC-9 from Lionel. Alright, so let's start things off with a little bit of history on the real AC-9s. The AC-9s were a class of 2884 steam locomotives that were built by Lima Locomotive Works for the Southern Pacific starting in 1939. Now, of course, the 2884 refers to the wheel arrangement on the engine, so in this case, it means there are 2 wheels on the lead truck, 8 drive wheels here, another 8 drive wheels back here, and then 4 wheels on the trailing truck, so it's called a 2884. A total of 12 AC-9s were built for the Southern Pacific, and they were the largest and heaviest steam engines that the Southern Pacific ever ran. The AC-9s were the only articulated steam engines to be partially streamlined. They had what were called skyline casings, which were inspired by Lima's GS series of 484s, which were also made for the Southern Pacific. Between 1939 and 1952, all 12 AC-9s were in service between Tucumcari, New Mexico, El Paso, Texas, and Tucson, Arizona, where they mainly pulled freight trains and occasionally also pulled passenger trains such as the Golden State Limited. In 1952, the AC-9s were converted to burn oil instead of coal, and they were moved to the Southern Pacific's MODOC line between Sparks, Nevada and Alturas, California, where they worked in freight service until they were retired in 1956. Now, unfortunately, the AC-9 is an engine that has been lost to history, as all 12 AC-9s were eventually scrapped. Now, when it comes to Lionel's model of the AC-9, this is not the first time that they've done it, but this latest rendition with all the newest and greatest features was offered in Lionel's 2017 Volume 1 catalog, and then these things were delivered toward the end of 2017, I think in November or December. Now, they did 3 different road numbers. There's the black 3800 that you see here, there's a black 3805, and then they also did a 3811 that's in a daylight paint scheme. Let's go over some stats and facts for this model. The length of the engine is right at 20 inches. The length of the tender is 10 3/4 inches. The combined length with the engine and the tender coupled together is 31.5 inches. The weight of the engine is 11 pounds 10 ounces, I think, because this thing exceeded the weight limit of my scale. The weight of the tender is 4 pounds 5 ounces. That gives us a combined weight of 15 pounds 15 ounces. The pulling power for the engine is pretty good, 3 pounds 12 ounces. And of course, the minimum required curve needed to operate this engine is 0.72. Under the hood, this engine is driven by one large flywheel motor. There is a dual fan-driven smoke unit up front for the smokestack and the whistle steam smoke effect. And then back in the tender are the electronics for legacy rail sounds and legacy command control. As is typical for models like this, there are 3 ways to operate this engine. The preferred method is to use Lionel's legacy command system, as that will give you access to all of the engine's advanced features. However, you can also run this engine with Lionel's classic TMCC command system, or you can run this engine conventionally with just a transformer and some track. There's lots to see on this engine, so now let's go in for a closer look. So here's a close-up of the pilot area, which is really my favorite part of this engine, and of course you can probably see why. It looks awesome. There's all sorts of separately applied details going on here. We've got this great-looking grill work down here, the separately applied hoses with the hand-painted details, the separately applied coupler cut bar with the chain that goes down into the dummy scale coupler. And as is typical for engines like this, if you want to double head the engine, you can swap out that dummy scale coupler for a dummy O-gauge coupler that's also packaged with the engine when you buy it. And then up here you can see we've got some nicely detailed steps. Obviously these handrails really pop out with that white paint. They look fantastic. We've got a number board down here, and then we've got lighted number boards on either side of the operational headlight. Moving up, we've just got more awesomeness. We've got safety tread on all the walkways, and then check out all of this great detailing here. I mean, if this stuff doesn't get you excited, you're probably in the wrong hobby. We've got the start of the handrails that'll go down each side of the boiler. We've got the air pumps, the feed water heater. We've got some cast-in detailing behind all that. We've got a little horn, and then right here we've got operational marker lights and, of course, lighted number boards. As we swing around here, you can see the first set of drivers, and they look fantastic. They look even better when they're in motion. Then we've got some nice add-on piping details up here, and then we've got more add-on details up here with the throttle assembly and the handrail going down the boiler, and some nice cast-in details as well. And then, of course, right here, we've got some legible builder's plates. Moving down here, we have the second set of drivers, and then a whole bunch more add-on detailing and some nice cast-in details as well. And check out that firebox. It looks awesome. There's all sorts of add-on detailing and cast-in details as well. And this firebox also has the variable ash pan glow effect. So when the engine's on, there's a red glow coming from the ash pan, and that red glow gets more intense as the engine picks up speed. Under the cab, we've got a die-cast metal trailing truck that looks great. We've got all sorts of add-on parts under the cab. There's an add-on ladder, separately applied metal grab irons. We've got a door here. The door doesn't open, but it does have a clear plastic insert in it. The windows also have clear plastic inserts in them. On the interior of the cab, there are two hand-painted crew figures. The back head has a number of hand-painted valves and gauges, which you'll see a little bit better in just a minute. And then the interior of the cab is also illuminated, and that light does turn off when the engine starts moving. Here on the back of the engine, we've got the drawbar down here, and sitting on top of the drawbar is the infrared sensor that allows the electronics in the engine to communicate with the electronics in the tender. Above that, you can see we've got lots of nice cast-in detail going on. And then we've got the interior of the cab, which is a little hard to see because this sort of has an all-weather cab, so it's hard to get in there. But if I bring a light in, you can see some of the hand-painted detailing in there. The back head looks great. And one thing I didn't mention before is that there's a red glow in the firebox there when the engine is in operation. With the engine turned around, you can now get a look at the other side, which looks pretty much like the side you've already seen, but there are a few differences. First of all, on the pilot here, we've got the bell. Then we've got the whistle, which is equipped with the whistle steam smoke effect, as I mentioned before. Then we've got some additional legible builder's plates. And then we've got some hand-painted detailing further on down. Here's a look at the underside of the engine. We've got 4 pickup rollers, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got 2 traction tires on the last axle of each set of drivers. Toward the back, we've got a few switches. Right here is the smoke unit switch that allows you to enable or disable the smoke unit on the engine. And then if I turn this around a little bit, you can see there's 2 more switches over here. We've got the run program switch that allows you to program the engine into your Legacy or TMCC remote. And then below that, we've got the Odyssey speed control switch that allows you to enable or disable Odyssey speed control. And by the way, under normal operating conditions, if you're running this engine under command control, you want that Odyssey speed control enabled. One more thing I want to show you down here is this sticker that Lionel has put under the cab. It's a Lionel Legacy Control System sticker, and it's got what looks like a serial number underneath. Now, I've never seen this on a regular Lionel steam engine before. I've seen something similar on Vision Line steam engines to let you know that it's a Vision Line model and to give you the serial number, but never on a regular production steam engine. So I'm not sure what this is about, but I think it's fairly new. Don't quote me, I could be wrong, but I've never seen it before. So if this is not the first time they've done it, it is close to the first time. And like I said, I have no idea what this is all about. But if I had to take a guess, I would think that because Lionel is now doing a built-to-order production scheme, this may be a serial number to let you know the number that it was in the production run, and therefore it might make the engine seem a little bit more unique and authentic and make the engine a little bit more, quote, collectible. But again, I'm not sure what that's all about, but it's kind of cool that it's there nonetheless. Alright, that takes care of the engine. Now let's check out the tender. You can see here on the side that we've got some great rivet detail going on. We've got a crisp Southern Pacific Lines herald here in the middle. We've got some legible data down here. There's a legible builder's plate right down here. Here in the middle, there's a die-cast metal storage box. And then we've got die-cast metal truck side frames, and as you can see, they look great. On the front of the tender, down here is the other end of the drawbar, and we've got the other infrared sensor that allows the electronics in the engine to communicate with the electronics in the tender. Most of the detailing here is cast in. That is typical for most tenders that you find. However, up here we do have some add-on detailing with these grab irons and so forth. Here on the back of the tender, we've got operating marker lights. There's an operating backup light in the middle, and then we've got an add-on metal ladder. We've got a few add-on metal grab irons and a coupler cut bar down here. We've got some legible data right here. Then we've got these nice add-on steps down below. Those are metal. And then, of course, in the middle, we've got the electrocoupler that can be thrown from the Legacy or TMCC remote. On the top of the tender, we've got the water hatches here. Only two of them open. Under this one, there's nothing, but under this one is the master volume control for the engine. We've got some nice cast-in details and so forth, and then right here, we've got a real coal load. Here's a look at the underside of the tender. We've got two pickup rollers, one per truck. Right here is the sensor for the Lionel LCS sensor track, if you choose to use one. We've got some add-on parts right here, and then there are two speakers for the sound system right here. Alright, the last thing we're going to do before we start this thing up is BF IMO. Best feature in my opinion. Well, my favorite feature on the AC-9 is the whistle steam smoke effect. The whistle is sort of off to the side of the boiler, so you get a very prominent jet of steam when you blow the whistle, and it just looks great, and you'll see it in just a minute. Alright, it's time to crank this thing up. Now, I've got the engine facing the opposite direction that I normally do in my product reviews so that you'll be able to see the whistle steam smoke effect in action. But anyway, let's go ahead and start it up.
This is the yard office. Do you read me? I copy that. Over. Get us set up running. Your train will be ready at 17:30. Over. Yes, sir. We'll fire up. Out.
Okay, first up, let's check out the whistle. And actually, the AC-9, much like the Lionel Southern Pacific Cab Forward, actually has a whistle and a horn, and you can toggle between the two by pressing the AUX 1 key on your Legacy or TMCC remote. But anyway, let's go ahead and hear the whistle first. Alright, now let's hear the horn. Now, what's funny about the horn on this engine is that it still activates the whistle steam smoke effect, so that was kind of a goof on Lionel's part. I suppose if you wanted to use the horn, you could disable the smoke unit, and that would take care of the whistle steam smoke effect. But anyway, here it is. Here's the sound of water being added to the tender.
My water's full. Over. Roger that.
And here's the cylinder steam sound. And here are the good old crew talk sounds, and I've just learned that Lionel has now made it so that all their engines play crew talk sounds all the time, and there is no option to disable them. You have to listen to them whether you want to or not. No, I'm just kidding. If you don't like the crew talk sounds, you don't have to use them.
is the Yardmaster. Please hold at your location. Over. Roger. Standing by. Out. This is the block operator. Clear to proceed east from where you stand at track speed. Thank you. Clear signal. Out. My goal's at 3/4. Out. Dispatcher, air is made. Brake test complete. Are we clear to pull? Over. Hold at the signal. Roger. Standing by. Out. Tower, can we move yet? Over. Copy that. Your route is lined and locked. Have a safe run. Over. That's great. We're good to go. Out. Tower, stopped and ready to cut off. Over. Thanks there. Good run. Out.
Okay, let's go ahead and move it out. All right, that about wraps it up for this review. I think this engine pretty much speaks for itself. It is absolutely gorgeous. If you're interested in purchasing one of these, the retail price is pretty high. It's right at $2,000. Although keep in mind that if you go through a good Lionel dealer, you should be able to get a little bit of a discount off that retail price. And as always, if you're looking for a good Lionel dealer, try my favorite train store, which is Legacy Station. You can find them on the web at www.legacystation.com or give them a call at 770-339-7780. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm Eric Siegel, and I'll see you next time. To discuss this model or any other O-Gauge trains and to meet other O-Gauge modelers, check out the O-Gauge Railroading Magazine online forum at ogrforum.ogaugerr.com.